The reason why we enter a caloric deficit is so that we lose body fat, reveal all of that hard-earned muscle mass that we built on our body while being in a caloric surplus, and then we all from that will get that body composition that we all want to see. The only problem is when we enter a caloric deficit, which is a must in order to lose body fat, we also run the risk of potentially losing that hard-earned muscle mass. Today, we're gonna go over the biggest techniques that you can implement into your training program in conjunction with your diet so that you reduce the risk of losing that muscle mass while you're in a cut. Tip number one when it comes to your training while being in a caloric deficit is to stay at or above your maintenance training volume. So your maintenance training volume is the amount of training through sets or reps that allows you to maintain your muscular strength and size. So the first thing you're gonna wanna know is what is your specific maintenance training volume, which that might vary for each one of you. And that also will change whether you're in a caloric surplus or if you're in a caloric deficit also. So if you're in a caloric deficit, which we are talking about today, it is essential to realize that it might take more training volume in order for you to retain and sustain the same amount of muscle mass that you have on your body, because your body is taking in less calories to be able to use as fuel to regenerate and rebuild your muscle. So in order to hold on to your muscle, you might actually have to increase your overall training volume to prevent any loss of muscle that you currently have on your frame. And it's important to know that as you go further and further into your cut, you lose more and more body weight, more and more body fat. You're going to also have to reduce the total amount of calories that you intake on a day-to-day basis, which also means that you might have to increase your total amount of training volume so that you do not lose that muscle mass also to combat that. So as you get further and further into your cut, you reduce more and more calories, your training goes up and up. That's leaving you for a big room to actually potentially overtrain, and that is something that you don't want to do. So that's why once you reach a certain body fat percentage level, your calories get lower, your training gets high to really combat and prevent the loss of muscle. You might have to start incorporating deload weeks into your weeks also, and that's going to be an extra tool that allows you to retain your muscle mass and, even more importantly, prevent overtraining and over fatigue. Now, it's also super important to note that you also want to make sure that you're hitting every single muscle group with proper maintenance volume also. So that means that you should not be doing any specific training that is tailored towards growing your chest or your back more. You should be making sure that your program is hitting all of your muscles equally, and so all of your muscles are being hit with the total amount of training volume that they need to be sustained, and as you go further into that cut also to be challenged to be kept onto your body. So let's say, for example, you're trying to prioritize growing your chest in a cut. We'll just use that for an example. Again, it's hard to grow new muscle mass, but we're just going to use it as an example of overemphasizing the amount of work on one muscle group at a time. If you put a focus on growing your chest, but you also reduce the overall volume on another muscle group, what's going to happen is, let's say you're then hitting chest with more volume throughout the week, or you're hitting chest 3 times a week, and then the other muscle groups say maybe 1 or 2. The other muscle groups are not going to be getting the proper stimulation and the proper amount of training volume to be kept onto your body during that cut also. So it's important that you're completely training your whole body, all of the muscles, with the proper training volume. So no specialized training programs that have lower frequencies on certain muscle groups and higher frequencies for other training groups to bring up that muscle. Again, keep it all equal so that everything is trained with the proper amount of volume. So now that you know it's so important to hit all of your muscle groups with the proper amount of training volume, one of the biggest questions that I get asked a lot of times is, should I be training with heavier weights and lower reps while cutting, or should I be training with lighter weights and higher reps while cutting? I'm going to answer that here in tip number 2, but first we're going to go to the gym, guys, and get an upper body pull day, which I'm super excited about. Again, I think it's just super nice to still be able to go to the gym, feel well energized, and have a good routine that keeps me energized and feeling full of energy before going and smashing a session. So some of my biggest tips are, I really prioritize my carbohydrates in and around my workout. Make sure I get a nice pre-workout in, and again, things get a little bit tougher as you go further and further into the cut. You're gonna start noticing strength decreases, but the strength decreases might not mean that you're actually getting weaker or losing muscle. Body levers do change as you go further and further into a cut, and a lot is to be said about that. So the biggest thing is that you still feel good about yourself and up here in the mindset wise. So make sure you get those carbohydrates before the workout. For me, that always helps me. A little bit of pre-workout always amps me up. So let's get this pull day session. Alright guys, we just had a great upper body pull day just a little bit ago, and I can confidently say that my sessions have just been feeling really awesome, and there's a reason why they've been feeling so awesome. And continually throughout this cut, as I experience lower energy, how my sessions continually feel awesome. And no, it's not just from prioritizing my carbs and pre-workout around my workouts, but there's also a mode of training too. So what you really want to pay attention to is making sure that your stimulus to fatigue ratios are dialed in. So let me explain exactly what that means. So whenever you do a heavy compound movement, such as deadlift, bench press, pull-ups, which is what I did today, or I would mock today if I was feeling quite tired, any compound movements, again, deadlifts or squats also, those are going to be high stimulus, high intensity, heavy and strenuous movements on not only your body, your ligaments, muscles, but also your CNS or your central nervous system. So that's something else that's very important to pay attention to anytime, whether you're in a caloric deficit or whether you're in a bulk. You always want to realize exactly how you're feeling. But when you are in a caloric deficit, you are way more susceptible to feeling fatigued during that time too. And if you become too fatigued, you might also have lower performance in your sessions. And it is so important, especially when you're cutting, that you give your best performance so that you stimulate the muscles the way that they need to be stimulated so that you maintain those muscles. So a good way to really make sure that your stimulus to fatigue ratio is on point. Yes, it's still good to incorporate those heavy compound movements such as bench, or today we'll use upper body pull day as an example since I did that today. It's still really good to make sure that you incorporate heavy sets of pull-ups in your sessions also. And that's going to be good because you want to still stimulate the muscles with that high intensity, that heavy load. But on the flip side, when you get done with that, you might actually have to go more into isometric or slower and controlled higher rep ranges after that. So again, you challenge your strength in a lower rep range, say anywhere from 2 reps with certain movements, maybe up to 6 reps with certain movements. It's good to do that a little bit, but you can do that more frequently and challenge your overall strength when you're more so in a caloric surplus. But this video, again, it's all about talking about a cut. When you're in a cut though, you are experiencing less energy because of the lower amount of calories, and that less energy might not allow you to move those heavy weights for as long. You're gonna get more fatigued a lot quicker. So it's so essential to realize that it's still good to have those main compound movements in that workout for you each and every single day. But after that, maybe start focusing on those higher rep ranges after that. And by higher rep ranges, I mean anywhere from 8 to say 16. I don't mean go super high, anything like that, but it's just something to keep in mind, because if you're starting to feel over fatigued, that could be a clear sign that maybe you're going too heavy or you're doing too many strength focused moves. And then maybe what you could do is do those still do those strength focused moves at the beginning of your workout, but once you get those done, then start tapping into that 8 to 16, mostly 8 to 12 rep range with those moves. So again, pay attention to how your body is feeling, your stimulus, and how fatigued you are feeling. And after that, guys, I want to show you guys this view that we're coming up on right now. This is one of my favorite spots. So we are out here scouting. Now he's up there on the trail though, but we are on the South Marquette bike trails right now. Specifically, if you guys are in Marquette, this is the Gray Walls, North Gray Walls bike trail, part of the big Pioneer Loop. We got a golf course right over here on the flip side of me. That is Gray Walls Golf Course. Have yet to play there, but I definitely want to. But look at this view, guys. This is just gorgeous. But anyways, guys, we're gonna continue on with this walk. Make sure that we get those steps in, that 45 minutes of walking in, and we're gonna continue on with this video. Hey, come here. Sit. So I've recently been getting a lot of questions as to how I'm able to run around with Scout on the trails without a leash on, and I got one of these shock collars by Sports Dog. Absolutely loving this thing. I'm able to roam the trails completely without a leash. You know, obviously for the most part I still carry a leash on me, but especially when I'm biking, man, has it just been so handy. And again, I already trained him with all of his cues, so he knows the cues, and it really took me just a few days for him to really just hone in and be like, okay, the shock collar, this is my new leash. I still have to listen to him when I'm running on the trails and going crazy following him on a mountain bike or chasing a squirrel. Also, I just want to show you guys, I'm so excited to show you guys the mountain bike trails here in Marquette too. So look at this, we got a berm right here, loops around over here. We got wooden structure right there, loops around another berm up over here, and look at over here, another bridge just across and up there. Honestly, guys, Marquette really has it going on. We have just as many bike trails here in Marquette as we do roads, which is just pretty awesome if you're a mountain biker. All right, guys, well, that was a great walk. Come on, buddy, let's go. Good boy, Scout. You got eye boogers all over. All right, guys, we just made it back from our walk. It was a great walk out there. As you can see, we're still in the extended stay. If you're not sure exactly why I'm in an extended stay, just take a look at the last couple videos, you'll find out. But yeah, you guys can see, I made myself right at home. I have all my things right here. Sorry, it's unorganized, of course. I got some rice being made right now so that I can slam down a little bit of food before I jot off to work over here. I have, again, it's messy right now, but I have my editing workshop right here. Scout's all at home over here with his bed, his food dish, and we got the mountain bike over here. So yeah, this is what we've been doing for one whole month now, which is just absolutely insane. But this guy really is a trooper. He does such a good job. I think we've been outside for most of the time though, haven't we? Yes. But anyways, guys, before we jump into tip number 3, I actually want to give you guys a quick little physique update right now here too. So, excuse me, Scout. Excuse me, dude. So, currently I am about 13 and a half pounds down since my starting weight, which is right on point and right in line with that 1.5 pounds a week of weight loss each and every single week. So that has been my goal. And with that, again, that's not too fast, that's not too slow, not too fast particularly because I don't want to tap into muscle as energy. So that has been going really good. I will put a clip right here of what my starting physique looked like. And yeah, let's compare that to right now, guys. So, excuse me, dude. Gosh, maybe this is just a Scout show. But anyways, guys, again, 13 pounds down. I started at 20% body fat. I did it in body after my 1 month of starting, and I dropped down to, I think it was 17.5. And I think right now I'm right around the 15% mark somewhere. in that area. And I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm just excited to show you guys where we're sitting right now. And this definitely is not optimal lighting by any means right now, but yeah, excited to see or show you guys where we are currently sitting. Definitely a lot leaner, and I feel like I'm constantly wearing a sweatshirt around because I'm definitely a lot colder on just a natural daily basis. I'm not crazy lean yet by any means. I'd have to say I'm in that awkward area right now where I still have a certain amount of body fat on myself and my muscles just are not full from dieting down. I don't have any glycogen, which is the storage form of carbohydrates. I don't have any glycogen in my muscles right now, so not really getting like a pump at the gym or anything, and I still have that layer of fat on, so it's kind of like an awkward transition phase right now. But guys, we're rolling with it. You gotta just accept it. You gotta put in the work, you gotta put in the reps in the gym, you gotta put in the days of tracking your food, and it pays off. It pays off. Here we go. Maybe this is better lighting right here. I'll try and do a Greek god pose. Oh, I heard a little crack. Well, anyways, guys, let's jump here into tip number 3 as we enjoy our food. I just finally have that rice made. We are slamming this down. In here we have 100 grams of avocado, 200 grams of rice, and 2 cans of tuna. And we have a little bit of sriracha mayo in there, sprinkled with some salt in there. So yes, this meal kind of looks like cat food, I won't lie, but it actually tastes really, really good. And that avocado in there is very, very satiated. So next up, I want to talk about tip number 3 here also. And tip number 3 is going to be making sure that you keep your training frequency for every single muscle group high. What I mean by this is keeping your training frequency high means that you're training each muscle group right around 2 times a week. Maybe you're doing upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower for 6 days. Maybe that's 3 days. Or for myself, I'm doing legs, push, pull, legs, push, pull. So again, with that, I am frequently hitting my muscles and frequently stimulating them so that they do not start being lost. And that is so vital. I cannot stress enough, do not do a bro split or something like a bro split where you're training every muscle group only 1 time a week while being in a deficit. Because what you're gonna do, even if you knock it out of the park, you really train that muscle hard, it's going to recover. Again, let's train it on Monday, let's say. You train it on Monday, and then all of a sudden come Wednesday or Thursday, that guy's recovered. Okay, it's ready to go, it's ready to fire again. But here's the thing, it still has the rest of the week because you're not training that muscle again until the following week. It has about 3 all the way up to 4 days of not being stimulated while being in a caloric deficit. And what does that equal? Not good, guys. You're gonna lose that muscle mass if you do that. So with all that being said, guys, I gotta run off to work really quick. We're gonna tap in to the last tip right at the end of the video, or after my shift, I should say. We'll see you then. All right, everybody. Just got done with sessions for the evening. We had a Metcon workout today, so a lot of jumping around, dynamic movements, a lot of hustling around, and a lot of sweat here at Fit Body Boot Camp here. So this is where I work, actually, guys. I mean, obviously, I know it's not quite much that it appears on the outside, but basically from here all the way over to this way, there's this huge dance floor in there where we get busy, move some heavy weights on strength days, get busy on Metcon days, and then have classic days, which is basically your mix of strength and cardio. So this right here, this is what I do for work. Again, 30 minutes of intense training sessions. It is pretty awesome seeing what we achieve with our clientele. We also do a lot of one-on-one coaching with nutrition also via an app that we have. So again, this place right here has honestly changed my life. A lot of you might know my backstory. Previously, I was big time in the healthcare. I did my bachelor's biology and physiology emphasis at NMU, which is not too far from here. And then after that, while being pre-PA or physician assistant, I found out with time after doing my bachelor's, and then also wanting to make my application a little bit more competitive. I did my master's in exercise science, so that was very useful. But I wanted to make my overall application a little bit more competitive for PA school. And so I did my master's in exercise science, and I did that. And you know, sometimes in life, guys, you gotta try things, and sometimes you might also realize that maybe something isn't quite for you. And I'm so blessed to have this place. I truly found something that I'm super passionate about. I love my fitness, and then also preaching outdoor and adventure to you guys. Again, I think the combination is just amazing. Fitness really is that glue that glues our days together with good, healthy habits, and I just can't preach enough good stuff about it. So my last tip for you in this video is to really pay attention to your body, how you're feeling, your amount of fatigue more specifically. So if you're really feeling fatigue, it is very obvious that you should probably take a deload week. And so a deload week, there's a few things with that being said too in a caloric deficit or while you're cutting. So when you're in a deload week, basically you are reducing the amount of stimulus and reducing the overall amount of your training volume. So what does that mean? You're not challenging your body as much. You're not placing as much stimulus, and you're not placing as much volume. So again, you probably have learned throughout this video that can lead to muscle loss, and that's what you don't want. So when you take a deload week, that is why it's super important to make sure that you bump your calories up for that entire week to maintenance level. So bump those calories up to a maintenance level when you're in a deload week, so you do not run the risk of losing muscle mass there. Now, same thing, why do we do a deload week? Sometimes our body, we accrue and become more and more fatigued as weeks of dieting goes on. And especially as you get lower and lower into your calorie range, you have to reduce the calories to break plateaus. You're gonna feel more fatigued more often. And so that's why when you first start a cut, you know, when you're around that 20% range, starting like I did, all the way to about 15%, 14% where I am now, I haven't had to take any deload weeks because my calories are still quite high and I haven't really experienced that much amount of fatigue. Now, things can change a little bit from basically at 15, even 14% down to my goal, which is about 10%. And especially if you're getting sub 10, this is when deload weeks really can come in handy, or even refeed days. Leave a comment down below if you'd be interested in me doing a refeed video. But anyways, back to the deload. As you reach 14% body fat, you might start feeling more and more fatigued more often. And so that's why it could be smart to do something like 4 weeks on of dieting and then 1 deload week, where during that deload week, you bump your calories back up to maintenance, you reduce the amount of fatigue, give your body the rest it needs so that you can jump back in to purposely go and reduce body fat for another 4 weeks. So again, yes, you might actually have to give up 1 week of losing body fat or being in a caloric deficit to lose body fat. But again, it's going to be a bonus for you overall, or a big benefit for you overall, because what happens is if you say, I'm just gonna skip that deload week when really you need a deload week, what can happen is your performance is gonna go down. And what happens when your performance goes down? You lose muscle mass. So you don't want that to happen, everybody. So really make sure that you pay attention to all of these tips. If you have any questions with any of the tips, leave those questions down in the comments section. All right, guys, so my last big tip that I really want to just give to you, this is a bonus tip. When you go into a caloric deficit, again, go in with a strong mindset. Go in when you are feeling ready, when you're ready to lose body fat and retain as much muscle. And the best way that you can retain as much muscle and lose body fat is when you go into it wholeheartedly. You do not want to dabble when you're in a caloric deficit because you run the risk of losing muscle mass. So make sure that when you go in, you set that caloric range so that you're losing that 1 to 2 pounds maximum a week of body weight, and then stay consistent. Do not dabble, track every single day, drink your water, get your steps in, make those workouts intense. Again, when I do my resistance training, I train like I'm about to lose my muscle mass and I don't want to give it up. So when I'm in my resistance training sessions, I go in with the mindset of growing muscle as much as I can to move some heavy weights with good form and making sure that I do that session properly. And then when I'm doing my cardio or my walks, I really move with the purpose of losing body fat. Again, there's two different goals to achieve one body composition that we want. If you want a lot of muscle, you got to train like you want that a lot of muscle. If you want to reduce the body fat, you need to do your cardio like you want to reduce that body fat. When you pair that up with good nutrition, you will meet your goal as long as you stay consistent and listen to your body. If you need a deload week, take that deload week. And that's all I have to say for you guys in this video. I believe in you. Remember, when you are ready to go into a cut, keep in mind if you are interested or if you're committed. That's the biggest tip right there that I can give you guys to end off this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making this one. I think I'm really excited, I will say, because I feel like my one takes have just gotten better. Like my connection with the camera, talking to the lens. It's very weird talking to a camera, everybody, and having a microphone. No one's responding to you. And sometimes I always worry that these cars over here they're watching me or something. And you know, it just takes time, and you have to do things that scare you in life sometimes. So take those steps, whatever it is you want to achieve, whether it is a hobby of knitting, whether it is Fit Body Boot Camp sessions or hopping in the gym. Again, do something that scares you a little bit, but something that you do truly want to do. So that's all I have to say in this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you are new here, again, welcome. I am so happy that you guys are joining the fam. Again, if you are new here and you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can do that right here. You also hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, leave your name, what you like to do, what are your hobbies. I want to really get to know all of my, right now, 203 subscribers. If you already are subscribed, drop a comment down below too. I want the interaction, I want the connection, everybody. And also, if you missed the last video, check it out right here. We'll see you guys in the next one.